Hi, boys and girls. We're going to finish this book today, Zots Learns to Share. So, before we get started with finishing up the book, I wanted to tell you about a time this weekend. Actually, Tyler was sleeping in his crib, and he's a very light sleeper. So, when he was sleeping, I wanted to watch a TV show, and I turned the volume really, really, really low, and I couldn't hear what was going on, but I could see what was going on in the show. And I could see the characters moving, but I couldn't hear what they were saying. And it made it really difficult to understand what was happening in the show. So much so that I just turned off the TV and I turned it on later when he was sleeping at night. But the point of that little story is this has to do with reading too. In reading, it's important to understand what the characters are doing, but it's really, really important to understand what they're saying too, because those two things go together and it helps you to understand what's going on in stories. So today in Reader's Workshop, I want to teach you that to really understand your books, it's important not to just pay close attention to the actions, but also to pay attention to the dialogue. So remember, dialogue is what the characters say. Readers keep track of who's talking as they read. Okay, so we're going to finish reading this book, Zots Learns to Share, and we're going to pay close attention to who's talking and what they're saying. And we're also going to remember what we did on Friday of making a movie in our mind, because those things are going to help us to understand the story. Zots Learns to Share. I'm going to quickly reread what we've already done so far. Abby and Zots are best friends. Zots is from outer space. Zots has a big cookie. May I have some? Abby asks. Zots eats the whole cookie in one bite. You should share, Abby says. What's that? Zots asks. Sharing means letting someone have some of what you have, Abby says. Okay, Zots says. Zots spits out some of the cookie and offers it to Abby. No, thank you, she says. The next day, Zots is playing with a toy. May I play? Abby asks. So right here we see quotation marks. That lets us know that somebody is talking. That's dialogue in a story. And right after those quotation marks, it tells you who said it. Abby. So Abby is right here. She says, may I play? She wants to join in. Zots breaks the toy in half. He gives one half to Abby. Now she can't really play with the toy because it's broken. What are you doing? Abby asks. Okay, so we see quotation marks again right here. We know that Abby is talking. This is her dialogue. What are you doing? She asks. Abby asks. I'm sharing, Zot says. And we see quotation marks here as well. And it's not Abby speaking here, it's Zots. And he says, I'm sharing. So boys and girls, we're looking at what they're doing in the picture, their actions, and we're also thinking about what they're saying. That helps us to understand the story. Those two things go together. Sharing can mean letting someone use something you have, Abby says. Okay, Zot says. Zots hands her both parts of the broken toy. This isn't as much fun, Zot says. There we see lots of dialogue here. So let's take a peek at the picture. The next day, Zots has a big bug. May I see? Abby asks. Is this a time I should share? Zots asks. Do you think he's going to share? Yes, you should share, Abby says. Do you want to eat it or play with it? Zot Zots asks. All right, so boys and girls, in the end, Zots learned to share. I hope you enjoyed the story. And today, when you're reading, I want you to pay close attention to the dialogue in the story. Remember, the author lets you know that there's dialogue by putting in those quotation marks. Okay, have a fun time with your reading today, and remember to make a movie in your mind.